My name's Grace Blackham and I work for BVRio, and I'd like to welcome you to this webinar on lesser-known timber species from Ghana. BVRio has been working with the Timber Industry Development Division of the Ghana Forestry Commission, CSIR Forestry Research Institute of Ghana, the Ghana Timber Millers Organisation and the Ghana Timber Association to create a guide of the properties of 20 lesser-known timber species from Ghana. To launch this guide, we have a great lineup of speakers who are going to tell you about Ghana's timber sector, why you should be choosing lesser-known species for your timber needs, and where to source them. If you have any questions for the speakers during the webinar, please write them in the Q&A box and we'll answer them during the question and answer session at the end of the webinar. So first of all, to begin the webinar, I'd like to show you a video about Ghana's lesser-known timber species.
The rich Ghanaian forest boasts of a wide range of timber species. Commercial timber harvesting, processing, and exporting of timber products have been going on in Ghana for the past 130 years. Sustainable and efficient use of these timber species is of critical importance. Ghana's vibrant timber industry comprises logging, sawmilling, veneer mills, ply mills, and molding mills. All the round logs produced in Ghana are processed locally into primary, secondary, and tertiary products. Export products include rough sawn, air dry, and clean dry lumber, rotary veneer, sliced veneer, plywood, block board, profile boards, outdoor furniture, and other furniture parts. All these products are manufactured in accordance with the Ghana Standard Authority specifications to meet ISO standards. There is a wood testing laboratory and wood inspectorate outfit to ensure quality.
Buyers know that the industry here in Ghana is quite well developed. Under the Timber Industry Development Division, we have an entire department that looks into timber grading and inspection with adherence to international standard. And because of this, it is a choice in terms of quality of products. Apart from that, the TIDD now is ISO accredited. It is an international certification organization that look into companies or countries that have to adhere to some stringent processes. And we are there. We are now this ISO 170-120 2012 accredited. So when you buy timber products from Ghana, we meet the international standard. So in terms of quality of products, Ghana is also a place of choice to buy timber products that meets the test of our international standard.
There are 420 potential timber species in Ghana, but currently, only 90 of these species are commonly known and traded. Many other species share similar properties to these common species, but are currently underutilized. We call these lesser-known species. The use of these lesser-known species will help reduce the overharvesting of the already established species. One lesser-known species, Denya, is preferred for building bridges, joinery, deckboard, heavy flooring, and heavy construction. It can replace our dependency on azobe and ananta. Nyangong is another lesser-known species. Its properties make it a right candidate for construction, joinery, frames, doors, and cabinetry. Nyangong can replace the use of kotibe and the bastard mahogany. With its properties, Hotro can easily replace the use of the bark cloth tree, the bastard wimsmore, and the false rubber tree. Some of its end uses of another lesser-known species, Yaya, are furniture, joinery, flooring, and boxes. Yaya can replace our dependency on the African mahogany and Oha. Wawambema is best used in construction, frames, doors, furniture, and tool handles. Wawambema can also replace Kotube and the bastard mahogany. These 5 species are capable of replacing or complementing the other popular species on the timber market. Purchasing and using these species will give you robust products while also helping to reduce the strain on the production and supply of the popular species.
The economic advantage is that these selected species are available in large quantities, and therefore large volume contracts as well as long-term contracts can be entered into for the selected species. In terms of environmental benefits, it will help reducing the demand for the other threatened species so that there will be more time for those species to regenerate and also accumulate in population.
Wood resources play an important role in Ghana and the rest of the world. The efficient use of Ghanaian timber species is of critical importance. Sourcing timber from lesser-known species means that buyers can utilize the same properties and quality of the species they have been buying before, while also preventing overharvesting and ensuring that the natural balance of species in the forest remains. BVRio's Responsible Timber Exchange is a great place to source timber products from Ghana, including those made from lesser-known species. Sign up to the online platform today and start searching for products.
And we'll move on to our first speaker. So our first speaker is Mr. Eric Abikwe from the Ghana Timber Street Industry Development Division, and he works as an operations manager. So Eric, if you'd like to share your screen, then you can start giving your presentation.
Okay, so that is the outline of the presentation. I'll be brief on the importance of Ghana's forests, the timber sector, sustainable forest management in Ghana, and strategies to achieve SFM. So a quick introduction. In the early 20th century, Ghana's forests covered about 30% of the land area, but the forest cover today in Ghana is 1.6 million hectares, and the forest contributes about 3.5% to GDP. Timber export earns the country about 170 million per annum, including illegal harvest. So now I'll talk about the timber, Ghana's timber sector. So Ghana has 329 registered sawmills, comprising of large, medium, and small scale mills. And about 2,000 people are employed directly into the timber sector. We also have about 3.5 million cubic meters of wood being processed and sold either on the export market or on the domestic market. And Ghana's timber harvest is estimated at 3.5 million cubic meters per annum. So while there's an increased demand for timber in Ghana, the exploitation of sustainable forest management is the stewardship and use of forest and forest lands in a way and at a rate that maintains their biodiversity, productivity, regeneration capacity, vitality, and their potential to fulfill now and in the future relevant ecological, economic, and social functions at local, national, and global levels, and that does not cause damage to other ecosystems. So when we talk about sustainable forest management in Ghana, this is what we mean: maintaining an equilibrium between the ecological, sociocultural factors and timber supply. So to achieve this sustainable forest management timber supply, Ghana has put in place the following initiatives. So we have the annual allowable cut policy. We have the RED strategy. We have forest certification, the voluntary partnership agreement, and the 100% yield removal. And within it, we have the promotion of LUS. So these are strategies that Ghana is embarking on so as to achieve sustainable forest management. So when we talk about the annual allowable cut, it is just the projection of the volume of timber to be harvested within a year in Ghana. And this was put in place to enable Ghana to sustainably manage its forest estates to keep the balance between the three main pillars of sustainable, i.e. ecological, economic, and sociocultural. So currently in Ghana, the annual allowable cut is around 2 million cubic meters, with the forest reserve contributing 500,000 cubic meters and off reserve 1.5 million. But there are challenges with the implementation of this policy because the annual allowable cut over the years is being exceeded. Harvesting is exceeding the annual allowable cut due to inefficient monitoring and other factors. So the annual allowable cut alone cannot help Ghana achieve the sustainable forest management. So there are other strategies in place, and one of them being the RED+, the reduced emission from deforestation and forest degradation. And under this, some of the strategies are to ensure sustainable forest management, and the strategies include enforcing timber legality compliance, addressing unsustainable timber harvesting, reducing the conversion of all kinds of forests into other land uses, then strengthening local decentralization management of natural resources, and also biodiversity conservation. But it must be emphasized here that some of these interventions have been addressed under the FLECT VPA program. So another strategy that Ghana is using is the forest certification program being embarked on by some of the timber companies. So we can make mention of companies like ABTS and Mondial. And there are other two companies who are also involved in forest plantations who are FSC certified. But then they are all geared towards sustainable forest management. However, there are also some programs in that the timber companies do not have concession rights over an entire forest, unlike other countries. Another challenge also is that certification, even though it's a tool for sustainable forest management, it is a private arrangement between the company and the certification body, and it is not natural. So these are the challenges associated with forest certification programs in Ghana. So another strategy that Ghana is using is the voluntary partnership agreement that Ghana signed with the EU. And this one, the key element in this voluntary partnership agreement are the timber products are legal and can be issued with flex license. Another key also is that commitment to legal reforms, public disclosure of information, and other improvements to forest governance. There's also a framework for overseeing, monitoring, and evaluating implementation of the VPA and its economic, social, and environmental impact. So under the FLEG VPA, Ghana has put in place a legality assurance system. And there are two tools that Ghana is using now to strengthen or improve its governance structure is the Ghana Wood Tracking System. It is an electronic wood tracking system. So it can be said that though the VPA is more of legality, sustainability cannot be achieved without legality. And the FLEG VPA overarching objective for Ghana is the attainment of forest sustainability, as could be seen in the next slide. So in this slide, we are trying to compare the forest FSC certification with the FLEG requirement. And if you talk about compliance with law, there's a component of the FLEG that addresses it. If you talk about workers' rights and employment, we have a component in the VPA to address it, as well as the others, monitoring and assessment, environmental values and impact. These are all addressed under the voluntary partnership agreement. What are some of the practical achievements of the VPA? It has resulted in the reduction in illegal logging. It has improved or solved most of the domestic market challenges. Then also promotion of forest governance by involving the CSOs and the other relevant bodies in the FLEG process. And it's also seen the fulfillment of social responsibilities agreements. One other strategy of 100% yield removal. Over the years, yield are allocated to timber companies, but when they go in, they only fell those species that has economic value at the moment. So now the Forestry Commission has put in place a policy to ensure the 100% removal once a yield is allocated to you, because if the so-called uneconomical trees are not removed, they are not good for the health of the forest. And one thing that Forestry Commission is doing to back up this policy is the promotion of LUS, lesser utilized species. So we are promoting this LUS to ensure that this policy of 100 yield removal. In conclusion, what we can say is that though the supply of timber has increased significantly in Ghana, there is the need to regulate the harvesting of the forest in order to ensure a balance between the economical, ecological, and socio-cultural functions of the forest. And also, the FLEG VPA is the biggest tool deployed by Ghana to ensure sustainable forest management and do some come to sustainably managing the forest. So I want to, because of our time, bring my presentation to an end. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Eric, for that great presentation. It was very interesting to hear about what Ghana is doing for sustainable forest management, and particularly how the VPA process fits into that. So as I said earlier, if anyone has any questions for the presenters, please write them in the Q&A box, and we will have a Q&A session once all of the presenters have given their presentations. So now I'd like to invite our next speaker, who is Mr. Richard Nsenkiri, who is the Managing Director of Semartex Timber and Plywood Limited in Ghana. So if you'd like to begin your presentation, Richard, that would be great. Thank you.
Yes, good afternoon to everyone. Okay, so as a follow-up to what Eric's presentation, my presentation is going to focus on utilizing Ghana's lesser known tree species. The outline of my presentation is going to be about the introduction, some list of lesser known timber species, not all, but the ones that I've really worked on. And I'm going to visualize much more on the picture images of these lesser known tree species, their properties, uses, and some possible products. And then I will draw the curtain down on some conclusion and recommendations. So starting with the introduction. Why promoting lesser use species at this time? As Eric rightly indicated, most of the prime economic species have already been taken out, or the focus has been extracting these known species which have been promoted in the past. And we think the forest structure is really changing, so there is a need to promote most of these lesser known species. And when you take Ghana's forest, it's quite diversified. Most of our products or timber products are coming from the natural forest, not from plantations. So we have the species diversity and availability. So most of these species are also in gregariousness. So they are in quite large proportions. So there is a need definitely to promote them. And then we have the possibility of loss of market shares and products substitution. You realize that most of these high prime economic species are losing their market shares because there are no substitutes. And on the other hand, when they don't get, the end users don't get these substitutes, then they try to replace it with other things like glass and other engineered products. And then one is also to maintain the forest structure. Definitely when we continue to exploit these prime species alone and not look at these lesser known species and take them in proportions, the forest structure in the next coming years definitely is going to change. So you have abundance or gregariousness of certain species alone in certain percentages, high percentages in our forest reserves. And then it is also important that we promote some of these for market development and promotion, as Eric said in his presentation. So I'm going to focus, because of time, on these lesser known tree species. One is Ananta, Aprocuma, Vodari, Bellinia, Denia, Diabanche, Asia, Chroma, Yaya, and Teticon. And I have their scientific names there. So starting from Ananta, as you can see, I don't want to go into, for purposes of the time, with all the literature, but basically for each of these species, I have a vivid description of the color, the weight, the characteristics, and I have it in flat cut and quarter cut for viewers to see it. For the same Ananta, you see that I've shown the various products that can be made to. You know, Eric made mention of the Forestry Commission doing promotion of these lesser used species, and I think it's only theory. Sorry to say that, because we cannot say we are promoting when we don't see anything on the market. And the Forestry Commission is not manufacturing anything. So I really wonder what they're promoting. So they say 100% yield approval. What are they really promoting? And I think the emphasis should be on what the industry is doing and not Forestry Commission. Because I've heard over the years that the commission is promoting lesser known species, but I've never seen. You see just samples which are not even representative. So if we really want to focus on these species, then we need to make sure that we give all attention to the various products for people to see how these species are in terms of the variety of products. So when you take Ananta, for instance, we have tried it in 3-ply window scantlings. We've tried it in lumber, in decking, in wooden cabins to see how it behaves. We've tried it in under construction and then in beams. When you go further down, we have Aprocuma, and this shows also the structure of Aprocuma in flat cut and in quarter cut. And then we have the various products. So we've tested some in plywood, in sliced veneers, both in flat cut, quarter cut, lumber, in S4S products, in tongue and groove, and we know how they are all behaving. When you take Avodari, it's the same thing. We have it in flat cut, in quarter cut, and then we have the various products that Avodari can be made into. So viewers can see it for themselves, whether it is for decorative plywood, whether it is for decking, whether it is for interior plywood, whether it is for sliced veneer for decorative purposes, and then for lumber as well. And even curl veneer, we have processed Avodari into. When you take Bellinia, it's the same thing here. Quite a good product, a good species, 700 kg. And then its strength is quite medium, natural durability, and you can see how the structure looks in terms of flat cut and quarter cut. And these are some of the products that we have developed the linear into. So we have 3-ply window scanlings, looks quite fantastic. Slice veneer, horse boxes, we have done some into beams, into various markets, because we cannot rely again on only the traditional timber market. So we are quite diversifying into other emerging markets who are ready actually to accept some of these lesser known species than our normal traditional markets. Then we have lumber, and then we have under construction. We have Denia, which is quite a fantastic wood. It is classified as one of the high durable species with a density of 950 kg. That is how the flat cut looks. This is how the quarter cut looks. And we have developed Denia into various products, as you have seen. So we have some in beams, which goes to the Far East. We have some in horse boxes, which goes to the UK market. We have some in lumber, again, which goes to the Far East. We have some in under construction, which goes to the European market. And then flooring, which goes also to the US market. And then locally, we've used some for outdoor furniture, which is really, really great. And then we have Asia, which also has a density of about 800 kg. We've done some Asia in under construction, as you can see from the picture. And then we have done some in 3-ply window scanlings, some in horse boxes, some in lumber, some in under construction. And then we have Chroma, which also has a density of 1,000 kg, quite durable timber. This is how the flat cut looks like, quarter cut in terms of structure. And then we have the other products. We've developed some of the Chroma into 3-ply window scanlings, deckings, lumber, under construction, and then horse boxes. So as you can see, we have different colors with different structural grains and figuration. And then we have Diabanche. This is how it looks like. Again, quite durable species, 900 kg. This is how the structure looks like in terms of flat cut, quarter cut. And these are some of the products that we have developed Diabanche into. And again, this goes to most of the emerging markets because the traditional markets don't even accept it. And then we have Teticon, which is quite abundant in our forests, especially in the wet evergreen forest reserve of Ghana. It's in gregariousness, actually, in this type of our forest reserve. This is how the flat cut looks like. This is how the quarter cut looks like. And these are the various products that we have developed Teticon into: 3-ply, lumber, beams, decking, horse boxes, and under construction. And then we have Yaya, that's Amphimas. Has a density of 775. Flat cut grain looks fantastic like this. This is the quarter cut grain. And then we have developed products out of it. So we have steamed Yaya, and then which goes basically to the flooring market. We have sliced veneer, which goes for the decorative market. And actually, when you steam the Yaya, it looks like Wenge, which comes from Central African Republic, which we don't have in. So it's a product substitute for Wenge that we are trying to develop. So in conclusion, the challenges with these species over the years is that their end of final products have never been promoted enough. And therefore, Forestry Commission, the Ghana Real Estate, private architectural firms, industry, forest trade associations, FORIC, that's the Forestry Research Institute of Ghana, universities, that's academia, architecture and engineering services of Ghana must collaborate in the local products promotion. This I don't see. So it's only a rhetoric. Always I hear Forestry Commission is promoting. It's only rhetoric. We need to bring all these bodies together so that we can really have the samples available and the products available so that we can really promote it both on the domestic market and then the export market. Again, samples should be made available for local carpenters, joiners, real estate developers, contractors, construction firms, etc., to test and experiment them on their projects for both private and public. I think that is all I have. Thank you for your time. I hope I stay within the minutes and I'm on standby for questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that great presentation, Richard. It was really, really useful to see the actual products that some of these lesser known species can be made into. I think that's really important for the market in the future. And it also yes, sorry. If anyone has any questions for Richard, please write them in the Q&A box and we will have them in the Q&A sessions shortly. Richard, talking about lesser used species, has brought us to a great point to introduce my next speaker, who is Christian Jorgensen, who is from FSC Denmark. He's also the coordinator of lesserknowntimberspecies.com. So Christian, if you would like to share your screen and give your presentation, that would be great.
Thank you, Grace, and I'm happy to be here. I'm Christian Jorgensen, and I'm an advisor at FSC Denmark. And as you said, I worked with lesser known timber species for some while, and FSC promotion of lesser known timber species, and that's globally. So it's also the American species and Asian species. But these years, I'm working a lot on Africa and mostly about the Congo Basin and the species there. But I think, yeah, Ghana is promising also. And Richard, thank you so much for showing some of the species you're working with. Yeah. So I'll just take off now. One sec. Yeah. So before we talk about lesser known species or in promoting it for the market, we need to zoom out a bit and talk about the market these lesser known species are intended to go into. And if we look to the European market, we have this discussion all the time if we see destruction or if we see development. When we hear the word tropical timber, there is really big mixed emotions about this. So for preparing for a future with more species, we need to address this basic thing first, and that is the credibility of tropical timber. That needs to be bulletproof. The storytelling needs to be bulletproof because it was bad enough as it started, and if we want to promote it for the future, we need to make things right, and we need to document this. So the old story is, of course, about deforestation, it's about degradation, it's about social issues and tax evasions. You know the story about deforestation. And the new story is sustainable forest management, and it's our contribution to development and political stability with local incomes and jobs. And this is important that we build the promotion on this to this market that really requires sustainable timber material, and also are setting up many restrictions on timber that is not fulfilling certification standards and such. So just important before we talk about lesser known timber species and the promotion of it. And of course, I represent FSC, and we are a global certification scheme that works with this chain of custody chain, and we have principles and clear rules for how to work with sustainable forestry. I'm not going too much into this, but we need to build on the story of credibility. And then when we have this, we can talk about use it or lose it. That is really I think a headline that's been used quite a lot. And that's a story about the pressure on forests that if we don't put value into the forest, we will lose it to other land uses that is more destructive in even bad forest management, and that's the total conversion. But also we need to, of course, build this on sustainable forestry. So the typical, when we go to when this is in place, we can yeah.
Sorry, could I just interrupt you? I'm not sure if you're trying to change your slides, but we're still seeing just the first slide. Yes.
Is it shifting now?
Yes, it is. Yes.
Great. Then we do it like this. Okay. So this is a traditional. This is a market we know. We see the Western European market yell for the species they know, so they will ask for Asubay. I'm not too much into the Ghana names of them, but I think you call it Kaku. but that's a really heavily used species in our market. And the typical thing is that then in Africa, you will go for getting some asobe for the European market, as you were asked. And this is how timber demand have been. We are reordering what we already know, and we might only know a few. And then there is this talk about lesser known species, lesser used species. There's so many names for this. And I say it's not really important if it is lesser known. That's not how do you say, a value in itself. The important thing is that it's sustainable sourced, and it is there. And if it is there, and it is there in sustainable amounts, then it needs to be utilized in a sustainable way for the market. And in that way, we can, through diversity, give some species relief to species like, in this case, asobe. And from the tropical species, this is just to say what is the potential. And that is that there is 50,000 species, tropical species around the world from tropical forests. And we are only utilizing a handful or 2 handful of species. So this is really low. And we know these species out there, they have some good, there's really some good use for them. So it's just really to get them out and show them. The normal thing that we hear is when people don't choose lesser known timber species is because of the general rainforest history about the legacy of bad management and stuff like that. And that is really a showstopper for it. But also, as Richard said, that we need to have this wood in function so it works. So, and we have some, the typical convenience, the lack of knowledge and stuff like that. We need to test it and get it out, work, so we can convince the market about lesser known species. So this is how the market should be. That instead we ensure to the market to know what species are available from the forest in the sustainable amounts. And also this is a long-term, this is in business context, it's in sawmill complexity. It's really all these things that we need to take into account, and there's really more to it. And then the market needs to say, okay, tell me more about them. So we will learn in Europe how these species can be used, because we need to start there. So for some years, I'll just show you, we've done some promotion to get wood in the hands of architects and engineers and others who specifies wood products. So we've done a lot about getting the wood so they can feel it in the hand. One thing is that Richard makes wood samples in Africa and show that to the traders and stuff like that, but this needs to go out and work. So I totally agree that we need to work the full chain through to convince the specifiers what this timber can be used for. We built this lesser known timber species website, and we have focus on case wood in use. So actually this is the bridge you see at your right, that's Denya or Okan, as it's also known as. That's how we built the case to show that this is a wood use. And the problem is actually that maybe some wood gets to the European market, but people forget where it is and we don't get the case for it. So I'm really a case hunter. So if you have FSC certified cases out there with lesser known timber species, do contact me, because we need to show the diversity of timber. And of course we have basic timber information like species profiles and stuff like that. So that's something that's supportive, but for us, it's about inspiring by the use. So in Aarhus, my own hometown, we actually built this promotional platform to show 17 tropical timber species from all over the tropical region, that there is diversity. This is just to start talking to the building sector about timber diversity. So get one-to-one test out and work and let them show, and then get all companies involved in this. So all the big construction companies and traders in on the projects, that's as important. So we together can convince architects and engineers and advisors about the possibilities in this. So right now we're working in a group called the Congo Basin Network, LKTS Congo Basin Network, together with the FSC Netherlands to promote lesser known timber species from this area. And then that's just one final point, I think, before my time is definitely up with the challenges we had in the beginning. But if you want to sell shoes, don't show the warehouse. And this is a really promotional problem I see all the time when I'm hunting for cases. If you want to sell shoe, then show them the shoes. So this is typically promotion of tropical timber. That is, we show our timber yards. Instead of showing what it becomes, we need to really show the end product. And through the change, there is so much we can do. We can do in each step of the way. The specifiers, they really don't need to specify species. They need to specify the uses they need. And the traders need to communicate this with the forest management or the forest layer and sawmill layer to see how can we solve their problems with the species we have and be really diverse in this. So you will get the slides. There's a lot of it. I think my time is up. But in general, we need to track the wood through the chain and again back from the end use to the forest. So in the forest sector, you can tell about end use, and in the specifiers, they can also tell the direct forest stories that you obtain by doing sustainable forestry in your country. So there's so many stories to be told out there. So yeah, just you will get my contacts. If there's anything on this, you are more than welcome to contact me with anything on cases and the use of tropical timber. I'm really keen on getting in contact and connecting people with the Western market and the specifiers. That's what we do the best.
Thank you very much for that great presentation, Christian. I particularly liked the bit about not showing the warehouse, but showing the actual shoes. I think that's really important when we start trying to promote the products produced from these lesser known species. If anyone has any questions for Christian, please write them in the Q&A box and we will get to them after the next presentation. So now I'd like to invite our final speaker, who is Isabella Del Prado Nunes from BVRio, who's going to be giving a presentation about one of the methods for trying to find timber products that are legal and sustainable.
Thank you, Grace. Good afternoon. I'm going to be presenting quickly BVRio's online timber trading platform, the Responsible Timber Exchange. Firstly, I will just try to quickly introduce BVRio. We are a non-profit organization with a mission to create and promote the use of market mechanisms to facilitate environmental objectives and support the green economy. We were originally created to operate in Brazil. We now work internationally with representatives in the UK, Switzerland, China, Ghana, and Indonesia. As part of our main objectives, we have a forestry and timber markets program with the mission to promote the trade in legal, certified, and sustainable timber through the creation of responsible markets and due diligence tools. So what is the Responsible Timber Exchange? It is a completely free-to-use online negotiations platform to source legal and sustainable timber products from all over the world. It was launched in 2016, and it is currently available in 6 languages. We also have a desktop and mobile version of it. Here in the screen, you can see the main platform, how it looks. You can both sell timber through posting sales offer. You can buy timber through requesting for quotations. You can customize your search with different filters, as you can see here in the left. And to post sale offers, you just have to fill in the form that is in the screen. It is very straightforward, just main specifications of the product. It is the same for requesting quotes. And once you found the product that you're looking for, you can open a window chat and get in touch through messaging with the timber producer. You can also make a counter proposal and start negotiating. So it is a very easy to use platform. The main thing of our Responsible Timber Exchange platform is that we are aiming to only show responsible timber, and by that we mean sustainable, legal, or certified timber products. And we do that through only showing timber products that have certain credentials. We do this basically, as we all know, to give a bit of background and context. Illegal logging it's a very widespread problem. It leads to forest degradation, reduces carbon stocks, it drives poverty. So in recent years, however, it's been recognized through a lot of evidence that enhancing the legality in trade of legal timber is an essential part of fighting illegal logging. And as you all also know, there are many countries already with laws in place to prevent illegal timber from entering their market. And most of these initiatives and legislations encourage or require timber importers to make due diligence procedures. So with that in mind, in the Responsible Timber Exchange, we are only showing offers of timber products that either have a valid certification scheme certificate numbers such as FSC, PEFC, or FLECT. We actually have more than around 10% of the offers right now in the platform are FSC certified. So it is a really good source for buying FSC products and other certified products as well. When there are products that don't have a certification, we ask for the timber producers to upload at least one form of evidence of the legality of the timber. This has to be an official documentation that shows the legality of the product being posted. As you can see in the screen, we ask for documents from all the supply chain, from harvesting to exporting. And these documents can be, depending on the country, forest transport guides, main exploitation titles, and other documents. We currently have more than 1,200 users from 45 countries, around 1,000 offers and requests, and 69 million cubic meters of timber products available, and a 70-30 split between offers and requests for quotations. This is the distribution of offers and quotes. As you can see, it's very internationally. Most requests do come from South America and requests from Europe, but we also have some products from Southeast Asia and also China. Signing up is a really easy procedure. As you can see on the screen, there's only that information to be completed. Oh, we also have another different timber legality verification tools. One of these is the due diligence guides that we have per country. They're on our website, very useful to check documents in each of these countries. And that, I know I'm running out of time, so that's all I'm gonna say. Thank you very much. Thank you, Grace. And if you have any questions, do ask or write to any of the emails in the screen as well. Thank you, Grace.
Thank you very much for that presentation, Isabella, and giving a nice quick overview on BVRio's Responsible Timber Exchange. So I'd like to thank all of our speakers today, and now we're going to move to the question and answer section. So the first question I have is for Eric. Eric, I hope you're still there. Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, perfect. Okay. So the first question for you is, what are the main documents that are needed to show that timber from Ghana is legal?
So the main document that is issued to confirm the legality of a product is the FLECT license that is issued. So for EU-bound materials consignment, they are issued with the FLECT license. Then for the non-EU countries, we issue the export permit to cover them as a proof of legality. And those going to the domestic market, there's a domestic timber inspection certificate. However, we have a manual, a verification manual B, that outlines the chain of custody procedures.
Okay, great. Thank you much. Thank you very much for that answer. And there was one further question for you, which is when will FLECT licensing begin properly in Ghana? I'm sure you get asked this question all the time, and everyone is waiting for it to happen.
Yes, so at the moment we are issuing mock FLECT, but then we are anticipating that in the coming year we will issue our FLECT.
That's fantastic news. Thank you. Okay, so I have a couple of questions for Richard. Richard, can you hear me okay? Okay, so Richard, the first question is, are any of the species that you talked about in your presentation at risk of extinction or endangered?
So none of these species are endangered or under extinction that I'm 100% sure about. None of them.
Okay, perfect. I didn't think they would be, because that's one of the reasons that we're trying to promote them more widely. The second question for you is, why are these species used for horse boxes? Is there some kind of physical wood property or appearance that's desirable?
Yes, it's much more to do with the physical properties. They are highly dense. Most of them, when you go through the species, the one that we have tried them to be successful for horse boxes has really high density. So it's not only the physical appearance, but the physical properties is quite highly dense. Yes.
Okay, great, fantastic. And I have one final question for you, which is, are all the species that you talked about actually available in commercial volumes?
Exactly. That is why I was quite selective. Most of these species are available in commercial quantities. Of course, the other biggest challenge is the product that has to be developed, because again, when it has to go to certain markets which are kiln dried specific, then of course the production chain takes a longer much time. And that is why I say that just to promote some of these species should not just be left on the table as being rhetoric, because some of them takes as much as 3-4 months, sometimes 6 months, or to develop the products that are required on the market. So you might have them in commercial quantities, but you might not have them with the infrastructure and that we have, or with the logistics that we have with the processing industry, be able to make all of them available. That is one of the biggest challenges that we have.
Great, thank you for that answer, Richard. I hope that we can solve those challenges in the not too distant future.
Yes.
So now I have a couple of questions for Christian. Christian, can you hear me okay?
Loud and clear.
Perfect. So one thing I wanted to ask you is, in your experience of trying to promote lesser known species, when we're looking at the species from a country such as Ghana, how many species should we really be focusing on promoting at any one time?
Start small. I think it's not about the amount of species. Also, this is a market that needs to get used to more species. Of course, if you can find the right application for the right timber, then be really active. But in these times, I think it should start just finding alternatives to the high yield or the high used species today, and see what introduce a few and just get the market used to this, and then one by one, also because some of it needs extra documentation and European standards check and stuff like that. Then we need to have these verified in the technical manner, and we need to have some use cases for getting this confidence in the timber in the long run. So it's about beginning, and as I say, just put one new species in the container. That's a campaign in its all. Just one by one, this battle will be won, I'm sure.
Okay, great. And I have one final question for you, and is that when I presume on your website. Is it only FSC timber that you're interested in for the projects with examples of lesser known species, or is it all types of timber?
Yeah, that have been the concept that FSC works with FSC timber, and so it's what we can find. But me working with FSC or non-FSC, it's also a travel that starts somewhere, and sometimes it's through a controlled route, and sometimes it's So we are broad in our approach, but for showcasing on our website, it's FSC cases only.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. I'm very aware that we've come to 3 o'clock, so that's the end of our webinar. I would first of all like to thank all 4 speakers for your great presentations today. I think we've learned a lot about Ghana and its sustainable forest management, the lesser known timber species that are available in Ghana, and the general ways that we should be thinking when we're promoting lesser known timber species to the European markets. So thank you very much for all of your presentations today. I would like to let everyone know that BVRio are launching a guide to 20 lesser known species from Ghana today. We will be making the guide available on our website, which is www.bvrio.org. It'll also be available on our LinkedIn and Twitter, and we will send copies as a thank you to everyone that's been part of this presentation. We will also attempt to make the slides available for anyone that wants the presentation slides.